Hello aspirants, welcome to the second part of North American continent. So in the first part we had ended with Greenland, and as we all know that it is extremely important during this time. So we were studying Greenland and we had to complete some things in Greenland, like we had covered the Nares Strait, the Denmark Strait, Baffin Bay, and yes, one correction, this island is called the Devon Island, a part of the Queen Elizabeth Islands. So after this, the most important part is fjords, which is formed by glaciers. In last year, in one of the questions in mains, the UPSC had asked that how are fjords formed in Finland. So we don't know which landform UPSC might ask, as Greenland is very much in the news these days. So this year, 2026, fjords again become extremely important. So how are fjords formed basically? You see, first what happens is that a normal V-shaped valley is covered by a river in a mountainous coastal region. So a prerequisite for formation of fjords is that has to be a V-shaped valley formed by a river. That means a kind of a pathway is already ready for a glacier to come. Yeah, these are the mountains here, and we have a path already ready. This path is ready for the river, which is going right now, and later on a glacier will be coming here. So when the ice age comes, when temperatures drop significantly, then in those areas glaciers start coming. Now river had already carved a path. So in this very same path, glacier starts moving in that direction. Here during an ice age, snow accumulates, compacts into ice. Now glacier is flowing in the same way. So glaciers, because they carry so many heavy rocks, they carry ice crystals, they carry so much of moraines with them, that they are able to carve a much deeper valley. They are able to abrase the rocks. We read in erosion of glaciers and rivers that when glaciers go, then there is abrasion also involved, then there is plucking of rocks. So a lot of things happen much deeper and much more significant than rivers. Hence rivers form a V-shaped valley, but glaciers form a U-shaped valley. So same thing will be happening here. So when the glacier is, it is just eroding away. You see these hilllands over here? So glaciers will be eroding much deeper within them, much deeper. And many a times what happens is it even goes below sea level. So there is a sea level present, for example, and there is a glacier flowing from some mountain areas. Okay, so glacier will be carving and carving and carving within, and this might go even below the sea level. So your sea level might be ending here, but the glacier has carved somewhere here. So I hope this is understood. So a glacier keeps on carving within before it reaches the sea, and finally it reaches the sea and it deposits itself over there. You're talking about really northern areas. You won't see that happening in the Himalayas or those regions in the tropical areas, but this is something which is possible in really high areas like in Finland, like in Greenland. Most of those regions here will have a rugged terrain like Greenland. Let me show you the rugged terrain. Talking about these, you see all of these rugged terrains. All of these are glaciers. Same you'll find over here in the Baffin Island, Ellesmere Island. All of these had glaciers at one point of time. After this, what happens is once the glacier has deposited it, then ice age has to end someday. So now glacier extends, and when warming happens, then the glacier starts retreating back. So warming is happening and glacier is retreating back. Now when the glacier is retreating back, sea level will start coming. And what the sea sees, that there are things that are below the sea level. Once the sea sees that this hill has been carved and the glacier had been flowing from here, perhaps the glacier was going till here before, and now there are the sea level has reached towards the hill, and now it will flow back. will flow back, fill up these gaps, and those gaps are what we call as folds. So because the trough is below sea level, the sea just comes across and fills it up. So it is very simple. First, there was a hill present. For example, there are pair of hills present. There was a river flowing. Glacier goes in and carves very deep crevices within, goes even below the sea level, and then deposits itself in the sea. Once the sea levels rise, once the glacier comes back, and the sea sees, and the sea fills up and brings everything back to the sea level. That's all that is happening in formation of folds. Now, these are the steps involved. You see, I had taken this image from a good website. So you see 1925. This also shows you that how fast climate change is happening. 1925, exactly 100 years back. Glacier is present in some part of the world, and I want you to notice the depth over here. Just this much. Now, in 2010, glacier has started retreating. You see, there is a water body present here. Glacier has started retreating back, and in 2018, the water body is increasing. So this is how fords are formed. So sea is coming in as the glacier is retreating, because the glacier has formed a very deep crevice that the sea has to come in. Now over the time, this 2018 peak, now over the time, I think by 2030, 2040, sea will be covering all of these regions. And what we'll be having here is another ford. I would like you to identify the steps in class as well. So you can pause the video and you can also identify and study these steps. Next important thing is Skerries. If UPSC can all of a sudden ask about Fords, why can't they ask about Skerries? And we are studying Greenland, we are studying the northern areas beyond 60 degrees north latitude. So a lot of us has to go into areas which we never had gone before. Skerries. So what are Skerries? You see, again, glaciers. Glaciers, they are very highly erosive in nature. They erode a lot of things. So what happens is when glaciers erode valleys, and you see glacier has eroded over here, okay, but it failed to erode the top part. Seawater has come in, but it has left this piece of rock. So this piece of rock is called basically a skerry. Example, there will be many islands here. Now those islands are not deltas. We have deltas in India. Over there, the rivers do not carry so much of silt that they form deltas. They were glacial lands at one point of time. So glaciers retreated, seawater came in, and whatever areas were left behind got surrounded by the sea, and what we're left with are skerries. They are not fords. For fords, there has to be hillocks present, there has to be hills present on all sides. Skerries are small islands or rocks, basically. Those are skerries. Yes, there are many skerries as well. People even stay on them. They are not from a sediment deposition, they have little or no soil. Finally, isostatic depression and rebound. Now, the ice sheet of Greenland, and we will soon be seeing the what ice sheets destruction and damage they have done. So ice sheets, they are 3 kilometers, in some places 4 kilometers thick. Now they are so heavy that they force the crust to form a bend shape. When this bend shape is formed, then the crust forces the mantle down below, and the mantle has to move apart from each other. That layer has to go to some place because it is being crushed from above. When it's crushed from above, it goes on the sides. Now, when the ice layer is melting, then we are seeing that the weight is getting uplifted and the crust is getting back into its original form. So when the crust comes back to its original form, those areas which had gone to the sides will now start coming down, and sea level will again, we will see a rise in the sea level as well. So let us see the process over here. So first of all, isostasy is the state of gravitational balance between Earth's crust and the underlying mantle. So there is always a gravitational balance between the Earth's crust, this is the Earth's crust, and the mantle. Now, Earth's crust is always floating on the mantle. It is a very on the asthenosphere. So, asthenosphere is a highly, it's more like oil-like, plastic-like thing, and over which the lithosphere is floating. So, once it is floating, if you add a weight, it's like water, and a piece of land is here. So, the more weight you add, the more it will sink. More weight you add, more it will sink. And once you remove the weight, if you remove the weight, then it will move back up. That's exactly what is isostatic depression. During the ice ages, massive ice sheets formed in Greenland and heavy ice pushed the continental crust downwards, and this was called as isostatic depression. Now, mantle material is displaced outwards from beneath the ice sheet. Central area sank and peripheral came up. Like these areas, this sank and this came up. This was called as forebulge formation. So UPSC can always ask what is isostatic depression. They can always ask what is forebulge formation. They love to ask such different and technical words. So be careful about them. Now, when the ice sheet melts and there is a rebound, then they will be lithospheric displacement will be going back and there will be a forebulge collapse. Simple, ice sheet presses the weight, forebulge formation. Then when the ice sheet melts and the crust rebounds up, we get the forebulge collapse. So after ice melts, climate warms and there is isostatic rebound. This is the exact rebound, the forebulge, what we were talking about right now. So mantle flows back and there is a rebound. So rebound is still happening today in Greenland, Canada and Scandinavia. All the regions affected by climate change. Which are they? Most affected: Greenland, Canada and Scandinavia. So land is still rising today. So that puts an end to central Greenland finally. First we learned about the political geography of Greenland and now the different physical geographical forces that are acting on Greenland. We learned fjords, we learned skerries and we learned isostatic formations, isostatic depression and rebound. So I don't think you need to learn anything else beyond this, but if this issue persists in the news channels, then we will have to make a revisit to Greenland. Now, Central America was left. So it is very easy to learn these countries from Guatemala to Panama. Big gorillas eat hot dogs, not cold pizza. So what do we have here? Big gorillas. So we have big as in Belize, G for Guatemala, E for El Salvador, H for Honduras, N for Nicaragua, C for Costa Rica, and P for Panama. This mnemonic is also in the north to south direction. So all of these countries form the part of Latin America. Is these countries and South America completely. This region of North America is called Central America. So what important part is that all of them were at one point of time a part of another country. They were also a part of the five. There was a five conglomeration of 5 of these countries. Now all of them are different. So this is important for the Panama Canal, which flows from here. And Panama was earlier a part of the country of Colombia. But again in 1903 or 1905, US wanted to invest in the Panama Canal. They wanted to form a Panama Canal over there. But Colombia refused because Colombia was having an internal strife and there was very highly politically disturbed area. A lot of rebel factions were there. So US intervened and created a separate country called Panama, and they formed the Panama Canal. Now another canal is in the talks somewhere in Nicaragua. I don't know why would they choose such a fat piece of land in Nicaragua, but it was at one point of time. Currently, I don't see it in the news, so you also don't have to worry. The important part is there are just two countries, Belize and El Salvador. These two countries do not open to both the oceans. Every single country in North America opens to Pacific and Atlantic. Canada, US, Mexico, and all of these countries except Belize and El Salvador. Belize opens to the Atlantic via the Caribbean Sea, and El Salvador opens to the Pacific Ocean. Rest all of the countries open to both the oceans. These are some facts which you must know, not necessary to remember. I have already told you Belize and El Salvador, and Isthmus of Panama is within Panama completely. Mexico borders only Belize and Guatemala. Yes, just remember Mexico, northern part we know, separated by the Rio Grande River over here by the US, and the southern boundary of Mexico has just two countries, Guatemala and Belize. Northernmost Central American country is Belize. Just remember this mnemonic. Big gorillas eat hot dogs, not cold pizza, and you will remember all the countries in a north-south order as well. Tropic of Cancer passes only through Mexico and the Bahamas. So this is a very rare combination which we will be coming across. You see, we had seen Australia. Australia was passing, only Tropic of Capricorn was passing through Australia. Africa, all four main important lines were passing through: Equator, Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn, and the Prime Meridian. South America had the Equator and the Tropic of Capricorn. And North America has only the Tropic of Cancer passing through it. So only through Mexico and the Bahamas in North America. And Panama of North America connects to Colombia of South America. So Colombia and Panama, they form the actual boundary between North and South America. There is a small part of a jungle over here. You see, when you must have heard of the donkey route. You know, the route from where a lot of illegal immigrants get into the United States and Canada. So the path which they take is usually from South America and they enter through Panama over here. But there is a small piece of uninhabited jungle present here. Now these jungles have no roadways and it is extremely hard to traverse this part. So once they part this area, then it becomes quite easy for them, and maximum deaths, maximum people die or get injured mostly in this small stretch of land between Panama and Colombia. Just letting you know for general knowledge, and as America, both the North and South America is in news, so we don't know which one can get into, which one can be attracted by UPSC. So finally guys, we are done with North America, and that completes North and South America both. Now we'll be entering into Europe. But before Europe, it is important for you to also go through the cyclones and disturbances which happen, like hurricanes happen in North America. So it's important to go through that as well. We'll be covering that in the next lecture.